Hi everyone, welcome back to Pine Hollow out of Diagnostics. Yep, another parasitic draw case study. This time we have a 2015 Ram 1500 with the 5.7 liter Hemi, about 130,000 miles, and the customer said that this has been going on for several months. He's tired of dealing with it. He doesn't want to take it to the dealer. He brought it here, and that's perfect because I guess we're becoming the parasitic draw specialists. It's raining now. He dropped it off last night. He said in about 1 to 2 days the truck wouldn't start. Well, it's the next day. The truck is completely dead. So this is seems like a pretty substantial parasitic draw. Not good for the battery. We have a Super Start Platinum AGM. So instead of jump starting the truck and letting the alternator, full field and supercharge the battery, stressing the system like that isn't a good thing. Let's hook up the TOPDON Tornado 90,000 battery charger. See, right now we're at 5 volts. So I'm going to set this to AGM and see what the, how it's going to charge. This is 14.6 volts. Let's just do it. See what happens. Desulfation. So I don't know. It's gonna do its thing. Maybe we should just charge it the regular way to like 12.6 volts. Let's stop that. I just want to get this truck into the shop and not overload the system. So let's set this. So I'm going to reduce the voltage there. Let's say 13 volts. Start. Let's see how many amps this thing takes. Okay, good. 31 amps. Let's let this thing charge up. We'll see how many amp hours go into it for, I'll charge it for half an hour, then we'll start the vehicle, start from scratch. Obviously, there probably won't be any code stored since the battery was completely drained, but if it's a module problem, and I suspect it will be, if a module is indeed bad, it could potentially set a code that's saying, ROM error or ECU fault or something like that. That would be a great clue. So we'll be back. Alright, it's been about an hour, 43 amp hours into the battery. It's still charging. Let's try to start this thing, warm it up, scan it for codes, get in the shop, and start doing our parasitic draw testing. Let's see. No start. What's going on here? Nothing. It's one of these stupid shifters. Why did that blink? What's going on here? No crank, no anything. Is the truck completely... No, now it grabbed my key. Can't take the key out. Now, did the owner... Oh, okay, that clamp isn't very tight on the battery post, I guess, because the owner always takes it off. Let's see if that was it. No. Truck is still dead. Alright, this is weird. We got nothing works, no dome lights, no beepers, no dingers. I mean, the guy drove it here. This is the problem where there's no direct control. It's all buttons, it's all modules. If they're not happy, you're dead in the water. I mean, just some basic test light checks. Connect the battery ground. Test light definitely works. We're at the fuse box. We have feed to this fuse box. I mean, I'm just checking some random fuses. Some of them might be live, some of them might be not live. We definitely have power to the box. You could check, you know, is there a main ground issue? Test light works. You know, battery ground, or at least the block is grounded. Man, this is pretty nuts. I did not expect this start to this case study. Okay, so I disconnected the battery, reconnected the battery, no charger. Vehicle did something. There we go. Take the key out. Okay, so maybe it didn't like the charger on there. Okay, great. Starts up. Alright, truck's warmed up. It's happy at 14.8 volts. Here's our full health report. So 20 modules. As expected, the tree is red. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of low voltage codes. And let's just save it, clear everything out, see if there's anything interesting. Battery monitor, module temperature monitoring, performance loss comm, circuit voltage, yep. Blah, blah, blah. Lost communication with radio. So, can interior, lost communication with radio. Plausible data. So, I don't care about these codes for now. Let's clear them all out. Yes. So, key off. Key on. Okay. Make sure the tree is green. We'll back out, start up, rescan it again, make sure there's no hard faults, and go from there. Alright, so the tree is green. Let's back out. Shut the vehicle off. Pull the key out. Open the door. Close the door. I'll wait until the cluster dims out. One other thing the customer mentioned was the TPMS, tire pressure monitoring system. Sometimes the sensors display and sometimes it sets that fault. So that's an interesting observation. I guess we'll cross that bridge when we get there, but keep that in mind. So right now it says tire low, inflate to 39 PSI, but it's showing 45, 45, 45, and 48. So interesting. Let's just rescan it for codes one more time, see if anything comes up. Alright, well we have 3 red modules now. Let's see what's in the PCM. Battery monitor module temperature monitoring performance. Okay. BCM says lost communication with intelligent battery sensor. Now I'm wondering if they disconnected that to disable the stop start system if it has it. I'm not sure. And then HVAC says left solar sensor circuit short to battery. Recirculation door control performance or incorrect operation. Seems to have changed the airflow there. Okay. Just clear these out, see what happens. Okay. Left solar sensor circuit short to battery. Okay, well, it's interesting. What would be the next step? Push to sleep, measure the battery draw. This is, I guess, a little concerning. It has to do with the battery. battery monitor module temperature monitoring performance. So let's save this report so we have that on file, and we'll pull it in the shop. Alright, here we go. So the doors I got latched, so I can open them, get to the fuse boxes, whatever. Dome lights are off. I can hear something clicking. I see the cluster is still awake. And doors, the door's latched. The truck should be asleep. On our regular ammeter, we have 4 amp draw. Now, you see a lot of wires here. What's the setup? I don't want this battery to go dead again. So I have the TOPDON set at 12.8 volts. We just want to maintain that key off, vehicle off battery voltage, because at 13.5 it was really not happy. It didn't want to, that's an abnormal rest voltage. So this is a normal rest voltage. It's putting out 8 amps, and that's directly to the battery posts. Okay, the ammeter right now is connected across battery negative from the bottom of that post to right here. It's clamped on, and I put a towel there so the battery terminal doesn't touch the battery post. Now, instead of the ammeter, I want to hook up the Wi-Fi Parasitic logger so we can just log this draw over time, and if anything changes, we'll see it and we'll have a record of it. This is just real time, but it's really nice to have a log over time. So the Parasitic logger is hooked up. You can see the red lights are on, and to re-zero the probe, you come over here, and you see the probe is listed right there. So we'll go back to 1x. Sorry about the glare of the ceiling lights there. How about that? Now we choose the Parasitic logger, and it does an auto calibration. Oh. And then we go back to our digital display. You see it's 0. So now when we hook up the logger, instead of the ammeter, the current will go through the logger. Now we want the current to go through the battery sensor, so I'm just going to hook this right here. You can see the meter went down to 0.4. This is reading 3.4. So when I unplug the meter completely, this should read about 4 amps. So 3.9 amps. That's our draw right now. Again, we hear stuff clicking. The truck is definitely, something is awake. Again, this is going to be a network diagnosis. We've done these before on the Volkswagen Touareg, on Lincoln MKCs or MKZs, whatever. Exact same approach. We need to pull up a diagram of all the modules on the vehicle and see if there's a gateway, if there are multiple networks, and then hook up a scope, see which network is awake, and go from there. So here we go. Alright, so this truck looks like it has 2 networks, the CAN C and the CAN IHS, and they both come to the DLC. Very convenient, so we'll just hop on the positive side, CAN plus. So pin 3 is the IHS, pin 6 is the main drivetrain CAN C. And you see all the modules are on here. And then it goes to another star connector. Now actually, to get to these star connectors, that could be very handy. Connector star C, that's under the dash. Connector star C instrument panel. So I'm going to locate these. If we can, disconnect this and eliminate half the network and see if our activity goes away, that might be handy. Let's see which network is talking. Alright, as you can see, we're plugged into Mr. Bob there. Cluster's awake. Pin 6 is channel 1, pin 3 is channel 2. Indeed, we have activity on both networks. So we have to go to the gateway and unplug the gateway. Now, what is the gateway on this vehicle? I think it's going to be the body control module. Just look at which networks are on both, or which modules are on both networks, the IHS and the CAN-C. So the IHS is like driver's door, heated seats, AC heater, external disk module, radio, body control module. On the CAN-C, we have our cluster, radio. Again, radio's on both, but I don't think radio's usually not a gateway. Drivetrain control, ABS. There it is, module body control. That is indeed on both networks. So, got to get to this body control module. So pins 25 and 26 on C5/E. That's for the CAN-C connection. And then C6/F for the IHS connection. Let's see where this body control module lives. Alright, so just reading up the description operation of the network, it does say the central CAN gateway or hub module integral to the BCM is connected to the CAN IHS and CAN-C buses. This gateway physically and electrically isolates the CAN buses from each other and coordinates the bidirectional transfer of messages between them. BCM is located under the left-hand side of the instrument panel. Sweet. So if we click on body control module, locations, we're interested in C5E and C6F, I think. C6F, yep. C5E. There's our BCM. Let's look up removal and replacement. See how to get to this thing. Removal. Move the remote park access panel. Move the left sill and cowl panel. Remove the amplifier. Oh my gosh. Remove the park brake release rod of the parking brake. Looks like a parking brake at the BCM. So there it is. Let's see if we can find this thing. So I think I located it. You can kind of see it. There's the amplifier with the heat sinks. If you look way in there, the connectors are labeled. Oh, this is going to be a tight shot here. And that connector is E. So I'm going to try to reach up in there and unplug E. We only need to unplug one of the connectors to isolate the networks. So connector E is going to be not for the IHS, but for the CAN-C. C5/E. So let me try to do that. We'll look at our scope. So both networks are active. Okay, latch is coming out. Okay, that's disconnected. All right. Look. Cluster went to sleep. CAN-C went to sleep. CAN IHS is still awake. Let's see what our draw went to. Okay, 2.5 amps. Let's write that down. Our logger logged it right there. That's when we disconnected the So really cool to have this log. I know the timestamps of when we did what. We can disconnect the other F connector if it's easy to get to from the BCM just to see what the network does. We'll need to eliminate it anyways. and go from there. By the way, that clicking is still here. I don't know where the heck it's coming from. Almost like a solenoid of some sort. You can see our CAN IHS is active. Let me try to find connector F in the BCM, disconnect that just so we can, well, we're still here, and then look, see if that CAN IHS goes to sleep or not. I have to say to manufacturers, with so many modules, at least make the gateway accessible. That way the diagnostician can efficiently diagnose these parasitic draws. This BCM, that first connector wasn't too bad. The second connector is jammed in there, but I got it unlatched. So we're at 2.2 amps and the CAN IHS is active. So I'm going to unplug this connector 6F on the BCM. Focus you guys in on the scope and the meter. And see what happens. Here we go. All right. Unplugged. Our draw did not change. Fantastic. We're still clicking under the hood. We still have activity in the network. No change. So BCM is not at fault. Let's write down all the modules on CAN IHS, and then we can either get to a star connector or start pulling fuses or disabling modules, whichever way is easier. But let's write down a list of these modules. Well, we're already here. Here's one star connector. This is what it looks like, little green plugs in a row. This is the CAN IHS instrument panel connector. Perfect. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 plugs on this connector. Now, which one's which? Well, we can actually go by the colors. So for example, on the first, there's a, looks like a white and black. Second one is a white and blue. Third one is a white and a brown. And this one's a white and green. So pretty easy. Let's just unplug one at a time. So white and gray, I guess, is going to be module external disk. Focusing on the scope. Unplug the first one. Now these might be a little tricky. You gotta get a pick. Let me focus you in on the scope, and we'll go one by one. All right, here goes the first one. White and gray. Again, these are a little tricky. There we go. Any change? None whatsoever. We're down to 1.8. Network is still awake. Just give it a few seconds and then move on to the next one. And then I'll write these down one by one. Well, the wiring colors don't quite match up, but I'm just going to keep going down the line. Pull the next one. The wire color is a white and blue. So, okay, that's why the wiring colors weren't matching up. We're on this connector star CAN IHS body. So basically white, dark blue, white and light blue, white and brown, brown, white and light green, and this is the one that connects it to the other star connector. So we could just pull this one and eliminate all these at once, see if our network changes. If it doesn't, then we don't need to waste time pulling each and every single one of these, if that makes sense. So let me just do that. Alright, so actually the instrument panel comb is right here. It was taped in this foam to the harness, so actually thank you Chrysler for making this very accessible. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 connectors. I wrote down the wiring colors and on the diagram where they go. So this one goes to this comb. That's the first one. We're not worried about that. Second one, orange, center stack. We have to check that one. Gray goes to the DLC. Well, that's what we're measuring, and that's not an active component. So let's just cross that one off, cross that one off. White and gray external disc, not exactly sure what that is. Amp, we just unplugged the amp. Didn't make a difference, so not worried about that. Radio and HVAC. So 1, 2, 3, 4 options. Place your bets now. Let's, I'm gonna start with the radio. Dark blue, this one right here, or the HVAC. I think it's gonna be one of these two. So again, focusing on the scope, and we're almost done. All right, I'm gonna unplug the HVAC connector. Boom! There it is! Money shot! I think our amp draw should decrease now. That network went right to sleep. And our logger will catch everything in action. I think we're in good shape. Look at that, beautiful network went to sleep. 0.1. I'm going to let this roll, see what the final draw is. Right there. And I think the clicking was from the AC compressor clutch. It was kind of sounding, you know, it's coming from the engine. Click, 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 click. Insanity. So I'm going to plug everything else back in. Basically, do a key cycle, fire the truck up, play around with the fan, turn the AC on, see if that works, shut it off, and see if we have the exact same results. Then we'll just unplug the HVAC pin from the comb. If everything goes to sleep, we'll be in great shape.